after Troy High, where did I go? Went to work.
Went to work. Where'd you work?
Well, I started working as a truck driver for a company in Troy, and then shifted right over to the Army.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
do you remember where you were when Pearl Harbor? Oh, you were at Pearl Harbor.
I was up there.
Okay. Now, when did you join the Army?
Well, I didn't join, but I was drafted,
Okay.
and I think it was in March of '41.
March of '41.
Yeah, and from there, the process took me right to present day, I guess.
Where did you do your basic training?
Basic training was done at Fort Eustis, Virginia.
Okay. And that was, what was basic training like for you?
Well, it wasn't strange to me because I did serve in the National Guard for a little while.
Oh, really?
I was on around 38 or so, 38, 39, I just can't remember exactly. But I left the National Guard because of the job I was a truck driver, and wasn't always around. I was on the road, for 2 days or 1 day, 3 days. So I was kind of advised that either stay with the Guard or quit my job, do one thing or the other. I decided to leave the Guard. They gave me discharge or something or other.
What Guard unit were you in? Do you remember?
The 105th.
105th, out of Troy.
Yeah.
Where was, what armory were you located in?
In Troy, the 105th Army in Troy.
Okay, that was
RPI.
former RPI, it's now the RPI Field House?
Or
The one down, no.
it's part. No, it's there. I don't know what they have in the Armory now.
Yeah, it's not the field house.
Okay.
It's the one on North Swan, or South Swan.
That's on 15th Street.
I think it's Burnett Avenue.
Huh?
No, it is 15th Street, yeah. It is 15th
Yeah, I
Street.
think that RPI owns that.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
What was it like being in the Guard then?
Well, it was going on training I think it was once a week, and field training for 2 weeks, usually in the summer.
Did you know Colonel O'Brien?
It was at that time. At that time, I was in the Guard, and it was at that time Major McKenna was the commanding officer of our unit. Yeah. Major Tickets McKenna at this time.
Did you like the experience?
I didn't mind it. Yeah, it was all right. It kind of went for the military as a whole. It did, and so I didn't mind it so much. You went away for you trained on a weekly basis, but for an hour or two, whatever it was. But then I went away for the 2-week training.
You went down to Camp Smith?
Yes.
What was Camp Smith like then?
Well, to me, it was like a big football field. But that was an experience in itself, because they went through the initiation process, which was a bitch. And at the time, I don't know if they have initiations like that now or not, but
What did they do to initiate you?
oh, Jesus.
Was it like hazing?
He made you run stripped and go through a gauntlet of some kind, and they have a greased the telephone pole. It was a pole, and they had it greased, and you had to climb up that. And while you were trying to climb, they had the straps out, and felt you. It was a little rough.
But you got through all that.
Yeah. Yeah, got through all that all right. And went back to my place of work. And it wasn't shortly after that I was called in, drafted.
So you go through basic training, and what was your first assignment after basic training?
In the Guard?
In the Army?
In the Army? Well, I went for camp, I don't know what that camp was, Upton.
Okay.
From Upton, went to Fort Eustis.
Mhm.
And there it was getting to prepare to do what you have to do. We got assigned barracks, and sergeant was in charge of the barracks. And we went out for regular drills. And they went through some of the orders that were going to pop out. And then we got down to the point where we really went on maneuvers, more or less. I guess we call it maneuvers. It was camp up to, I think it was on one of the rivers down there. But anyway, it was a mock bombing range.
Mhm.
Planes used to practice their bombing skills, and they used bags of flour.
Hmm.
They heaved them out, let them go down, puff of white flour float up in the air.
And this was after basic training?
Well, I saw that going on while we were training down there. The Air Force must have had another base around there somewhere. It was, and we were out in the field with them. They were practicing on one side, we were maneuvering on the other side.
I'm sure a bag of flour would hurt.
I think it would. I think kind of break a rib. But yeah, they remember the bags of flour. I throwing them out. As I was looking up myself, I was afraid that when Miss Scout gave away the throwing of flour. Yeah, it was they teach you for camouflage work, you know. They send you out to camouflage yourself somewhere out in the woods and see who would spot you. So that worked out.
So your guard training helped you through some of the initial Army experience?
Yes, well, one thing, I knew some of the orders, you know, were, so that helped. And one of the sergeants that was in the training there, Sergeant Kibbo. And once in a while, he'd leave me in charge of the barracks there, drill, you know, and give different orders. So that was, you know, new to me, but it went over all right.
What what unit were you assigned? Did you get assigned to after basic?
Oh, from Fort Eustis, we got the orders to go. So they loaded us on a train, a troop train, and went down along the coast, down to the bottom of the United States, to Louisiana and Arizona and somewhere else.
What was that ride like?
Well, it was a troop train, so a lot of men, you were sleeping next to each other practically. You had quarters, you know, they had on the train, they'd give you a berth, but you stuck two men to the berths. Some were up playing cards, so you slept and got by all right. Stopped along somewhere. We stopped in Arizona, and it must have been an Indian town, that's all I can think of, and it's sparsely settled, looked like, and there alongside the railroad tracks was a fruit stand. and all they were selling was watermelon.
Hmm.
So the train slowed down there. We jumped off the cars and bought watermelon. And the thing I remember about that is a watermelon about that size
Mhm.
for 5 cents. So it was Thursday hot, and you went through watermelon pretty fast. And from there, went up along the west coast. We wound up going through the mountains over there somehow. It's a long haul.
Was this your first time away from home?
The first time I went that far.
Okay.
And that was a really experience to me. Just never traveled in the mountains and trying to chug up through the hills. I think they had another engine put on 2 inches. And we wound up, we went up to on California coast, and we went near Fort Alcatraz
Mhm.
prison. It was a prison, and we embarked there. And next thing you know, without a tugboat or something, it brought us across the harbor to Angel's Island. And Angel's Island was a concentrating point for all these fellas that are going overseas, I guess. So stayed there a few days.
Do you have any idea of what was happening or where you were going to go?
No, then they put us on a ship, and it turned out the ship was the
Coolidge.
President Coolidge,
Oh.
and it was a pretty nice ship. All these fellows going into the hold, I'd see the hold, down the lower decks, and they only got the yells for LaHut and all those. There were about 60, 70 men standing on a big field out there. And so what the hell is going to happen to us, It turned out they must have filled all the hole up, so they had to put them somewhere. So they put it in first class. And it was only, I'd never been in the first class in my life, but it was a beautiful stateroom.
Mhm.
It had spring water bottles on a wall, hung on a wall. You had a fresh water shower. You had a salt water shower. You could take a salt water bath, a fresh water bath. And then we found out we were going to Hawaii, which was a surprise
Mhm.
because we weren't supposed to go overseas. So that was the first time, I guess, Roosevelt mentioned that we were going to go overseas, but next thing you know, there we were going overseas. So that was a pretty good ride, but it was also a bumpy ride. We ran into a storm, and
Oh, really?
the ship bouncing up and down, even though the Coolidge was a big ship.
Right.
So it took us 4 days or something like that, 5 days to get to Hawaii.
Mhm. Now, did you expect that the Army was going to continue to give you these kinds of
Yeah, it
accommodations?
felt good. We already had first class, and but you get to come down right there pretty soon after that. So,
You landed in Hawaii, and where were you assigned there?
well, we're draftees, so we arrived in Hawaii, He put us onto trucks, start driving along the coast, like Chewacki and then around the base of Diamond Head into Fort Ruger. And we stayed there in Fort Ruger for a few days, I don't know what it was, a week maybe. Then he took us out and brought us to the outpost, which was down at the Black Point in Hawaii, Oahu. And that was our, for July, August, September, about 3 months. And they sent us out for a so-called a drill. So Pakige went to Oahu down. Yeah. Went down to the shore and no, with Fort Armstrong, and I got on the small boat, and it was a transportation from Oahu, from where we were, Honolulu Harbor, to Sand Island, which is our field base.
Okay. Now, were you were you assigned to the artillery at this point?
Yeah,
Okay, what unit was it? 55th, was it?
at the time it was 55th Coast Artillery Unit,
Okay, and what type of weapons were they,
155s.
155s?
Yeah. They were big guns to me. It was, I'd see it was 55.
Now, were you part of a gun crew?
Well, then they broke us up and they assigned to the anti-aircraft unit.
Okay.
And so we had 75 millimeter guns, field, they were stationary 175s. And we were to maintain these guns out in Sand Island, which was also a man-made island. Wasn't very big, maybe a mile long and 300 yards, 400 yards wide.
So was there barracks out there or that?
No,
You just-
you're in the field,
Okay.
in tents.
What was living in Hawaii in tents like?
Well, it was hot for one thing, but it's not that bad. It was the temperature usually ran from around 88 degrees, somewhere in there.
Always have a breeze, so that.
Yeah, well, we were right on the ocean.
Mhm.
And of course, Sand Island was man-made. It was dredging from the bay there.
Mhm.
So it was all right. Algarobi trees, I know where to go. You couldn't get out. There's no way you can get off this little island, because the only way out was by water or swimming across. And I tried that. I almost got arrested. So we stayed on that little island.
Now, did you have any, were you able to go in with any of your former friends, or all these guys were new to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was no one in the outfit from around our area, my area. So you had to make new friends, you know.
Good group of guys?
For the most part, they were good. There was a couple were a little off, I think, in the head, but they took care of them.
How was your commanding officer?
They were good. They were all right. No problem there. You know, they kept it busy, and And they gave you some leisure time. You know, where you're gonna go, you're gonna walk around the side of it all. And that's where we stayed,
So you trained on the 75 anti-aircraft gun?
yeah.
And what did you do in the gun crew?
I don't know, can't tell you what they call them, but you got the shells, the 75 millimeter, then you ram them in.
Okay, you're a loader?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's probably a good word for it.
You get pretty good at it?
Yeah, you get to the point where they kind of see who could put the most in. I mean, and I thought it was 27, but I'm not sure.
That's per minute?
Yeah. And then your arm fell off.
So you strengthened your arm doing that?
At that time,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But they were fixed weapons, guns, and we worked around them best we could.
So coming to December 7th, what was that Sunday morning like?
Oh, we were on that Sand Island, and on the 7th, the Sunday, and usually there's sleep. Well, there's a sleep, you can miss breakfast or sleep, one or the other. So, got up late and started to go down to breakfast. It was a field kitchen, and as I started walking down the path towards the kitchen, I met one of my fellow mates there, George Catranch, that's his name, George Catranch, yeah. And we started walking. That was about 10 minutes of 8, somewhere there. Started walking down to the field kitchen, and the sky is clear, not a cloud in the sky. And I always like to look where I'm going, so we looked up. We saw a plane and somebody firing at the plane. The bursts were close. You know, I said to George, Jesus, I don't know where the hell they're aiming, but they're way off what target. We're going to knock this plane out of the sky. And kept watching, and all of a sudden saw another burst, seen awful close. And our there's the captain. Come down, he's going down to breakfast also, get his chow. We saw the planes had the plane had an insignia on it, but didn't know what it was. So the captain sent George down to his tent to get binoculars, and come up to binoculars and looked at it. George looked at him and said, "My God, he said, they got oranges on them." So the captain took the binoculars, he started looking, and right then and there he said, "Alert the battery." And but at that time it was just
One plane.
the one plane and chase plane. That's all. And all of a sudden there's a little burst, you know,
Where was the firing coming from?
from Pearl Harbor.
Okay, how far was Pearl Harbor from you, approximately?
Wow.
A mile?
Yeah.
Okay.
The way they had arranged the defense of Oahu, they had Diamond Head, which was our first point,
Mhm.
they had 40 Rusty and then and an aircraft battery and Pearl Harbor.
Mhm.
We were the defense for that.
So you're part of the perimeter defense.
Yeah.
Uh, Did you hear much noise at that point?
No,
No.
no, at that time, it was strange. You couldn't figure out what the hell. That one plane was shooting at the other one, and the bursts were so close. It didn't sink in right away, but then finally did.
Okay, and the captain then alerted the battery.
Oh, yeah, we all went to our guns,
Mhm.
and it turns out that 2 of the guns didn't work.
What was wrong with those?
One was being disassembled for major work on it, and the other one, just something went wrong and didn't work. So they used the 2 guns, because then the sky was all black.
Mhm.
And I think it was 9 planes came flying over
Mhm.
real close to the sea. So we fired at them, and they said that we had hit 3 planes out of the sea, because you weren't looking there, looking somewhere else. But they gave us credit for that many planes. And then it was just continuous firing all over, all over the sky. The planes were coming in, they were firing in the air. And I think I don't know why, but I think that they even fired a 16-inch gun from Kamehameha. Yeah, Fort Kamehameha.
Mhm.
And I think they fired a 16-inch gun. I don't know if it was 1 shot or 2, but that thing shook the whole island up. That's a tremendous blast out of that.
So you really didn't have much time to think about what was going on?
Oh, no.
You're just reacting, loading your...
You're doing that. Of course, when the 2 guns were out, they were trying to fix them, but I think they worked on one of them. They finally get going. In the meantime, the word that Japanese had landed on the island, our little island. And so the lieutenant got a hold of me and says we're going to go reconnoiter around our perimeter. And as we went out to reconnoiter, the shells from Pearl Harbor and adjoining outfits, some of the shells fell short and fallen down our little island. They were duds, but even that, the shrapnel there flew around, hit his leg, but it's only a little thing. And we went around reconnoitering, and we didn't know it, but the Japanese had campaign hats. Like the Army, I don't know if the Army still has them, the campaign hats, we had campaign hats. We both had the same kind of hats, campaign hats. So now you're going around, circling around the perimeter, and the only way to identify the enemy was the campaign hat. There's only 2 people supposed to out in this perimeter, this is myself and the lieutenant. Down to my right, saw a campaign happening and coming through the bushes, the algarobi trees and stuff there, and come through. So it told me to fire at it. And maybe I was a little cautious, I held off. And sure enough, pops the first sergeant, Strohmeyer. Forget him.
You could have been at the wrong place at the wrong time.
He could have been a casualty right then and there. Maybe I wasn't that good a shot anyway, but he could have had trouble right there and there. But we went right around and we found nobody that we could see. So the firing kept on all over. No matter what direction you went, you looked, you could hear it firing. Somebody's firing, somebody's firing. You really, you're kind of working in like a robot, you know, doing something.
Right.
Maybe you don't know what, but you're doing something. And that went on for maybe a couple of hours, around there, until it kind of calmed down some. But they were busy knocking down the tents, getting rid of them, getting rid of all the visibility, all that stuff.
Did you have any idea of what happened in Pearl?
What was happening at the time?
Right. The extent of what had happened?
Not at that time,
Yeah.
no. That was in the afternoon, we did it. I don't think anybody knew. All they knew that we were attacked, and you saw these trucks, army trucks, around the streets, and military, and hear the guns going off, somebody firing, and sirens going off, the air raid siren going off, and kind of a turmoil, you know. So anyway, we get through the afternoon, and came evening, and they put us on watch in the guard. I got assigned to one of the guns. We had a revetment round, and so they told us to guard from the top of the revetment. I kind of didn't like that idea, but that's what they told you to do. Just stay at the top of the revetment and challenge anything, no matter what. So that's what they told me to do. I challenged everything, challenged my captain even, you know. And when somebody said halt, he quivered and stand up. And,
Well, nobody really knew what was going on at that point. So.
no. And that you didn't really know. You didn't know what was happening. All you knew was that we were attacked by Japanese, because a lot of Japanese, you know. And the little island that I was on, Sand Island, there was a at the other end, there was an immigration station. I don't know when they used it, but they didn't use it well. We were there until that day. They herded up these Japanese that they picked up in Hawaii, in Oahu, and they were bringing down into our island. They ferried them across on a tugboat, a whole bunch of them to march right there.
Is this the day of or day after?
It was well, some was that day, and the others were like the day after.
Right.
So, as a matter of fact, we knew well, I knew I was near there where they marched up the road to the camp, And Well, then they, what was it? Can't get my thoughts together.
Okay. The Japanese, they were rounding up Japanese civilians and putting them in this camp on your island.
Yeah, but anyways, I don't know when it was what day. One thing I lost track of time at that time.
Sure.
They brought the Japanese in, put them in the concentration camp. And by next thing I knew, for some reason, I was in communications for a while, so they set me up here to run the island to string some communication wire. And the camp was like here, this end, and the ocean's right here. So I come up along the ocean there, tracing the wire and laying down wire. And then out of the clear blue sky, out of this concentration camp, they started firing at me. Because they didn't know
Right.
that we were over there. As a matter of fact, I don't think they knew there was a camp on there. But that was scary because it laid down right into the water. When it was the ocean lapping up and shore, and you wouldn't know where to go. You weren't going to go into the ocean, so what I did was just flop right down into the water and lay there, and you hear this stuff whizzing. But the truck that brought us over there, he noticed something going on, so he ran back, and somebody got word to the camp that the friendly people up there.
So everybody was just very, very nervous.
Yeah.
Could we hold here just a second? We need to change the... So you were being shot, that was your first, your closest experience so far was being shot at?
He directly shot at,
Yes.
yes, and, hello. Yeah. It was scary enough. But we got out of there safely, got the wire laid, put it down, and we got back to our camp. And
When's the first time that you got to see what actually happened in the harbor?
well, I was in Honolulu Harbor,
Okay,
and Pearl Harbor separated from
okay.
Honolulu Harbor. They're, I don't know, if they're half a mile apart or less. But then, but I was a truck driver in the civilian life, so they recruited me to drive a truck. And so where do I go? They gave some kind of directions if I had to follow somebody, haul an ammunition. And it was something that I never saw, never would see again. In the hills of Oahu are should be caves. And in these caves was a storage area for the ammunition. There were just long fingers in the mountain. And that was all the ammunition. There was no smoking, no cigarettes, no matches, no
Make you a
light.
little concerned about hauling ammunition?
Yeah, you see these big boxes, took 2 men and boys to lift them, and they load the thing on and tell you where to go. You had to find your way where to go. But it was an experience driving up through the mountain, had big roads, narrow roads, and you haul the ammunition. But inside of the, should be a crater, the islands are made up of craters. The crater, right in the center of the crater, they had one cigarette, no, wood lighter, gas lighter. It's clear all the way around. Just one lighter. If you had a lighted cigarette, one lighted cigarette, you had to go to that lighter and get it lit there. And that was new to me too. I never saw anything like that. But he hauled the ammunition to the places he wanted. I didn't know what name the place was, what camp or what fort it was. So that lasted for a while.
What was the general feeling about the attack after you finally had a chance to start thinking about it?
Well, tell you the truth, I was December the 7th, from December the 7th until December the 24th. I don't know whether it was Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, Friday, Thursday, whether it was week 1, week 2, nothing. It just all blended into one day, more or less, you know.
You just worked, did your job, and
You just worked, well, yeah. The first place we were short on men. The complement was 110 or 20, whatever it was. But we only had about 87, something like that. But it was work, you know, every day on something I had to do. And that's going to say, from December the 7th until December 24th, it was just Christmas Eve, was the first I knew what day it was, the 24th. They gathered us together. I don't know if we had anything to eat or not, but wish us a Merry Christmas and good faith and all that. And then he come out with anybody trying to escape off the island. He gave us the big news. He says, you expect an attack out of the island, on Hawaii. Oahu, I should say. And he says, but the orders are that if they do attempt to land here, attack here, he says they're going to fire on this island and blow it away. So your lives are gone. He says you're not going to get away to shoot you.
so you're expendable.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind when you heard that?
I said a little prayer for me because there was no way that you could escape. There's a sea right in front of you. There are 55s placed right along the seawall. 155s is set about in the middle of the island there. Got 500 yards maybe to run, and then run nowhere. You just gotta accept it, you know. Do what you had to do. As you say, you had to do what you had to do, and that's what I looked at. But the night went by, and during the night, after the attack, so some nights the reconnaissance plane with some Japanese come over, and it was kind of cloudy, and the son of a gun didn't drop a few bombs on top of the mountain. And that went on for two days. It was the bombers going over. Because only usually one plane. So presumably a reconnaissance plane. And I kind of, after blending in with the landscape, we had to sleep on the ground for a while because the tents were all down. And didn't even use the pup tents or anything. It's warm enough.
Right.
So, and after that is regular work went on. The driver that I met, that driver, I had to deliver the payroll one time. But I didn't know where I was going. So that was a free day for me, you know, running around with a car, military car.
That was pretty good duty.
Yeah, for that day. It was a pretty good sight. A car, I think there was a car following us. The officers with their weapons. You just show where they wanted to go. So,
Did you get to see Pearl at all?
yeah,
What was your impression when you saw that?
excuse me.
That's
You want,
the motto, and there's another one. I just, oof.
Yeah, they have quite a display of guns in the arsenal.
We're back in building 124, way sort of in the back of the bus. It's like going to Maine, you can't get there from here. You know, you give people directions, they wander around for weeks trying to find it. It's quite a place over there.
Yeah, they were testing for the missiles, the Apollo, and all this stuff there. Of course, they had to find out what the atmosphere was and, you know, what velocities and whatnot.
Right.
They built this gun. It must have been 150, 60 feet long.
Really?
They fire the test round out of it. They screw them together.
We're ready?
we're on.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Do you want to discuss it or not?
No, just I'll try it, but we'll went up there. You look at the harbor, Pearl Harbor, and the ship's all mangled in the bay. The Arizona, I think it was Wyoming. But anyway, they were all laying around there. You know, just like a junkyard.
Must have been quite a shock.
This was shock. Yeah. It's, you think what happens in war, people killed and buildings get knocked down, but you see these big ships laying over. It's really tidy.
I'm sure. Now, how long were you at Sand Island?
About 2.5, 3 years, 2 years.
Generally pretty good duty?
Yeah, it
Kinda
was.
boring.
was easier then, you know. You didn't have that kind of turmoil going around.
Right.
But, yeah, and then I had, we got transferred a couple of times, I think, up to Pearl Harbor itself, right in the back of it. in the cane field.
Mhm.
Then we were on the northern end of the island. Nothing but stone, mountain.
Did you
Really?
like Hawaii?
Huh?
Did you like Hawaii?
Yeah, it was good. It was good when you had a chance to see something, but yeah, it was good.
You got to go into Honolulu at all?
Oh yeah, that was in between times. We would get in. At first they only gave us a pass for so many hours,
Okay.
and then they extended it to half day, and then it was a day.
Mhm.
They didn't get a pass for overnight or so whatever. When we got to that point, the fellow that the sergeant in basic training, it's Kimball. He was with us, and he liked to drink, and he wound up getting friendly with this Japanese, and he was introduced to this woman, Mama-san, and she had a home down in Ala-Moana. It was in the field, like it was some kind of a cane field, small. She had a house down there, so he was able to rent that house. Well, we rented the bedroom, and we rented the bathroom. The bathroom was running for the beer. Load up with beer and get the ice on it. We used to get 50 cents worth of ice. The gab cost us $1. And over there, and we drink all night long. We wake up next day with a big head. And you find a few other places where there's a little side anything. So that was all right. It's fun stuff.
So after Sand Island, where did you go?
Oh, then they loaded us up. We down to Tarawa.
Tarawa?
Tarawa. And just a little atoll about the equator. That was another kind of hairy trip. Put us on a ship and finally going down to Tarawa. We got this closer we got to the equator, the more activity seemed to be in the ocean, submarines and whatnot. So the crew was always ready with the guns. I don't know what they had, 5 inches, I think he said. 5 inch, yeah, 5 inch. We fire these 5-inch rounds out. Sharks floating all around the ship. I don't know why. I don't know if that's a habit of the sharks or not, but they were floating around. They looked bigger than a boat, but they were large sharks. We had some scary times on there. They had word the submarine was nearby. We had to go down below deck.
What did you think about that?
Kind of shook up a little bit there, because it was so real. We were down the hole. There's enough to stand up on top of the top opening when it go out the deck. And these son of a bitch goes up there and gets a shot in the head, That's all you put it on. But the 155s went off. These what do they call them? They roll them off the ship.
Depth charges?
Yeah, depth charges. You hear them going off. So, you kind of get a bad feel. But you were crowded down the holes. They push you down the ladders. And we had to stay down. down below until it was all over. Then it was a little rough, sea was rough, and they had a rope off the deck. Couldn't go beyond the rope, that's how tough it was. So, but we finally got down to Tarawa down there.
What was Tarawa like? It certainly wasn't Hawaii.
That's all. The main island was Tarawa, I guess. That's something I'll always remember. There's one single sun-pitching tree standing on that whole island. And we were on there for, I don't know what was on it, some kind of duty, something. But ran across the blockhouse that was on the island. There was just holes in the side of that. I'm not sure, but I'd say they're almost 3 foot in diameter. Mammoth holes.
Yeah.
And the blockhouse itself was made out of stone, and that stone was 3 foot thick. They piled up on there. And then the field of battle, Japanese got pounded to hell, there. What they did is go bulldozer run over the bodies, cover up about that much. And one of the fellows, curious, I suppose, he started digging up, so you find these bodies. But you could also find hand grenades and so. And his name's Frank Drezick. He picked up hand grenades, and he didn't know how to use the damn thing, and it started to buzz. But some fellow near him knew something about him. He finally got him through the way, and the damn hand grenade went off. But the curiosity will get you, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but the stench. That's
Now, was the island completely secure at that point?
yeah, it was. We went in to relieve the Marines,
Okay.
and
But they're happy to see you.
yeah, they left us all the souvenirs. Yeah, it was more like I say, the pictures, palm trees and coconut trees and
One tree.
beautiful. Right on the island of Tarawa was one tree. That one single tree is on there. It's completely, just about completely white clean. That's a memorable sight.
Now, you were there for about how long?
Tarawa was in I don't know what the hell I got down there. I'd say probably 3-4 months, but it was hot. Not that much. The only thing we had to watch out for, there was some loose Japanese that we got away,
Oh, really?
and Tarawa was the main island in that group, then little islands, and the Japanese were on these little islands, and they scrounge for food, and scrounge for you if they get you. So that's the only thing that really had to worry about.
Did you carry sidearms?
No. No, it did. I don't recall outside.
Now, after Tarawa,
After Tarawa, the, while I was down Tarawa, so that must have been in June or July, I don't know which. Got the orders to go home.
You had enough points?
Oh, yeah, well, I had all the points you could possibly get
Okay.
for going to leave. Yeah, but I was sitting down playing cards. I think I had a dime left. And a fellow from the outpost, not the outpost, the communications sections, I forget what they call them. He come over to me and says, "The orders to go are here." So it's myself and another fella got the orders to leave. And we left within the 2 days, I guess, we got the orders.
It was quick.
Yeah, they let us go pretty fast. And while we're down in Tarawa, before I got my orders to go home, they had Betty Hutton down there for the show. Bob Hope, I used to come through. I didn't see him, but the men under me, I let them go, because you had the right to send whoever you wanted, but you had to keep a certain number on hand.
You were a sergeant at that point?
Yeah. So I let them go. And Hollywood stars, you could see them all the time. You're a Hollywood star yourself. Yeah.
So where did you got your orders to go home? You left from Tarawa?
Yeah, left from Tarawa. And we flew out of there. We didn't go very far, and that was, the motor gave out. It was a brand new B-57. It was on a trial run or something, I don't know what they call them. But the motor went out. Well, they told us that they could make it on 3 motors. But then we got, I don't know what I was down there. The 3rd motor went out. So now, go back to nearest island, I guess was Tarawa. They were going to go back, but they had to make a turn. The big sweep was because of the size of the ship and 2 motors. So we went with that. We signed our life jacket, not life jackets, our life boats were throughout the raft, and we made it back, and stayed there for about 7 days till they got the motor fixed. And no, they flew in a new motor. They flew in a new motor. They installed the motor, but they wouldn't let us take off because they had no way of testing the motor. They have to test the RPMs, the one, you know. So the captain of this B-17 somehow got permission to eyeball the motor, see if it the right spin. I don't know too much about that, but he eyeballed it and it seemed to be running all right. So he took off again from Tarawa. And then I don't know which way he went, and stopped at some lousy island in the Pacific. It was only, well, it was one of these where when you landed, before you got to the end, you had to stop. And if you didn't, you went into drink. And if the winds were right, you had to go on or something. It was very narrow, some Navy personnel on there, some Army personnel. it was narrow. You looked at me like nothing more than a street on this island. That's all it was. It was just this runway and the hut down below where the men stuff kept. All the goonie birds come out to greet you all the time. They were, I don't know.
Sure you're glad to leave there.
Yeah, there was nothing. There was just like a few blocks long.
Is that just refuel?
I don't know. So might have been that. Might have been that. Because there was nothing there. It was just this runway.
And from there you went,
They went to instead of going back to right for Honolulu to a staging area. For the staging areas, went to another staging area where they're going to Japan or Okinawa. I don't know which one is. So we went through the exercise, checking the baggage and make sure you got everything and getting ready to go on the truck to take off to the airfield is. He called my name out. I kind of now what? But it turns out that they didn't send anybody overseas any further than Hawaii who had the points out of 47 or 40 some odd. And I had those. Back I went to another staging area. From there, there's sent me somewhere else the same way. You get all lined up. They're reading off names, company name, step back. It was the same thing. I get things 7 times. I went like that. They don't know what to do with it. They send you to another staging area. But when you had so many points, they didn't send you anymore. So then it's time to go back home, I guess. Which I did. They sent me back home.
where were you discharged? In Hawaii?
I had the choice of, but I didn't want. I didn't see my family for 4 years. It was 4 years. 4, I decided to go back home and want to see the family. So.
What'd you do as soon as you were discharged? Were you looking forward to doing anything in particular that you hadn't done for 4 years? Something you hadn't eaten in 4 years?
Well, I love to eat, and I ate everything the Army gave me.
Right.
There was no problem with eating. I was a glutton. Yeah. I was able to eat good. I eat good.
So once you were discharged, you got home, Troy, did you have any plan? Did you have any immediate plans? You just...
No, just glad to get home. It was nice to see the family. I was going to lay around and do nothing, but I just stayed. I stayed idle for about a month. I went to work.
And you just continued your life.
Yeah, to this day, thankfully.
You have any general thoughts about your service experience?
Well, it was lonely. The first place because you're confined to this little small island. I think I had to figure somewhere The island was no more than a mile long, or 550 yards wide. And that's all you had. I saw my first female military person about 2.5 years after the war started. I didn't see any. Not that it was, well, it was the beginning of the war. We were in an isolated outpost, I'd say. No one was coming around, nothing. We were just isolated on this sand island. I went back to Hawaii 77, no, it's about 77 somewhere. And from Fort Armstrong, I looked over to where we were, and it was all grown in, all algarobi trees, and so I don't know. Somebody must have been on it. They must have built that up. But I don't know. I'd like to go there once more, but I guess not.
So it was a pretty lonely duty out on that
Oh, yeah.
chunk of
Yeah,
sand.
yeah. They'd send over maybe a USO show once every couple of weeks or so. And you have their own stage affairs. Like earlier we were talking about having some action. Our captain was the held a grudge against somebody, one of the men. He was the bastard, really. And he put him into a fight with another army personnel. I can't think of his name either. Another Frank. And he tell him, beat his brains out. But that's the way we entertain ourselves. I try to swim from Honolulu, from the Aloha Tower at the doctor. I try to swim from there over to the island, but the troops alongside, rifles down, and get back. So we had to get back. The trouble there.
Any final thoughts?
No, it was a good reminiscence, the most I've reminisced in quite a while.
Good. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Did a
Welcome.
great job.
I hope so.
Now we have just a wee bit of paperwork. See, just like the Army.